Have a forum. We will start by doing the call to order and roll call. Thanks for joining us for ANC 6E February 27th meeting. I will start by doing the roll call. 6E01 is vacant. 6E02. The video is disabled for you. Not sure why. Commissioner Prince, I just made you a co-host. Um, should be able to turn on your camera. Yes, great. I can see you right now. Let's see. Just making sure. G-pad 5, is that Commissioner Rogers?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Can you hear me?
Um, yes, I can hear you. Glad to have you back. Hope you're feeling better. Um, so starting with 6E01 is vacant. 6E02, I don't see Commissioner Watt. If you're on the call, feel free to use the raise hand option. Okay. 6E03,
I
thank you. 6E04, that's vacant. 6E05, present. 6E06,
Present.
great. 6E07,
Present.
6E08,
Present.
and 6E09.
Present.
So we have a quorum with 6 commissioners present and okay. That could be Commissioner Watt.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Yes, Commissioner Watts here.
Okay, so 6E02 present as well. So we have quorum of 7 commissioners, and then we have 6E01 and 6E04, they remain vacant, and then we have and then we have this is that. Okay. Let me see. Saying that there's an issue. Okay. Let's see how we can do that. See, there's an issue with the video. Um, the just
That is
settings.
audio settings.
Do you know how any of the commissioners need to know how I mean, do you know how to allow all panelists to be able to share their video, like turn on the video, or shall I don't know what's the problem with that.
It's just a message saying you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Oh, okay. I did not stop that, but let me
Okay.
see what is
Maybe the
happening.
settings, but if not, it's okay.
Yeah, it could be in the settings. Let me see if I can fix that quickly. Um, yeah. Let's see if there's a showing me the video option. Let me see. Could any of the other panels or co-hosts look into this while running the meeting? Okay, thank you. That's great. So sorry for this technical issue. So double checking that issue with panels sharing their video. Okay, moving to the next item. So we have a quorum of 7 commissioners, and then the remaining 2 seats remain vacant. So we have 2 vacant seats, and then we have 7 commissioners joining the call. Moving to the next item, which is voting on the agenda, approving the agenda. Commissioner Kaufman, could you share your screen and share the agenda? Thank you. Great. So for today's agenda, we will vote on approving the minutes of the January meeting. We'll have some updates from Councilmember Allen's office. The mayor's office representatives will not be able to join, but they sent me a written update that I can share. I will see if we have any updates from MPD. We have 3 presentations, one from the DC Sentencing Commission, one from DHS update on the non-congregate shelter on 25 East Street. Just notifying we won't be voting on any items. It's just an update from the Department of Human Services. And there's a request for support for modifying zoning relief from the BZA for the property on 500 New Jersey Avenue Northwest. And then we will vote on approving Q1 financial report. And then we'll have an open forum with 2 minutes for any commissioner or any constituent who wants to share any updates or ask any questions. And then we will adjourn the meeting. Any comments or questions, or are we good with the agenda as it is, commissioners? Okay, great. If you don't have any comments or issues or additions, I move to approve the agenda for the February 27th 6E meeting. Any motions second?
I'll second that.
Great. So Commissioner Abufalaf moved and Commissioner Prince second that ANC 6E approves the agenda for the February 27th meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Right. I heard Commissioner Watts. Commissioner Rogers.
I'm trying to get on. Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the motion moves with 7 ayes and 0 nays and 0 abstentions. Okay, that is great. Moving to the third item on the agenda, which is approving the January minutes. Our note taker, Karen, circulated the meeting minutes. Commissioner Prince, thanks for making those edits. And circulating them again. I'll make a motion. I'll go ahead and make a motion that ANC 6E approves the meeting minutes for our January meeting. A motion to second.
I'll second that.
Second.
Okay, great. So Commissioner Abufalaf moved and Commissioner Kaufman seconded that ANC 6E approves the minutes for the January 2025 meeting. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Watts.
Aye.
Great.
Oh, no.
Um,
This thing.
sorry, could you say that again?
Oh, no, I was talking out loud to myself, trying to
Uh,
figure out what is
no,
wrong with this thing, why it keeps doing that.
oh, no problem.
Okay.
I was able to hear you. Thank you.
Okay, great.
So the motion to approve the ANC 6E January 2025 minutes moved with 7 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstentions. Great. So we will move to the next item on the agenda. Commissioner Kaufman, you're able to stop sharing your screen for now. I'd like to, and I see John from from Council Members Allen's office. I will promote you as a panelist to give us an update.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
So we can hear you okay.
Okay, please forgive me. I'm reading my update because there's a lot here.
No
And I'm
problem.
happy to share it afterwards if things get
Mhm.
lost or you want to refer back. So good evening. My name is Jean Madison, and I work with Councilmember Allen, and I help do constituent work for ANC 6E. And I know most of you, but some of you I have not met yet. So please reach out. I'd love to have coffee with you at some point or something, or help you on an issue. Um, and okay, so the first thing is that oversight is continuing at the council. Tomorrow we've got DCPS, which is the public schools. Next week we've got hearings with MPD, the Attorney General's office, DHCD, which is the Department of Housing and Community Development, and a few more, but those are sort of the highlights. For those who want to pay attention to these government agencies, how they operate, what questions people are asking of them, or if you want to follow what Councilmember Allen and others are raising with these agencies, it's easy to find on the DC Council website. You go under hearings, and there's a calendar, and you can follow any of them at any time that they're on. And I'm pretty sure you can go back and watch them. The second thing is that our Attorney General, though under fire at the moment, brought 3 lawsuits against Maryland drivers for repeated and ongoing dangerous driving offenses due to Councilmember Allen's STEER Act, which is now in law and is funded. So this is one of our new tools to hold dangerous drivers accountable no matter what the state they're from. This is the first time we have been able to hold Virginia and Maryland accountable, among other states, but particularly those two, for the way that they drive on our streets. Another new piece of legislation that Councilmember Allen introduced is a law that would forbid credit card companies and banks from using the collection of tax and tip in their swipe fee, which is usually 2 to 4% of the cost of a purchase when paying with a credit card. The bill is aimed at helping our local restaurants and small businesses who have to absorb that cost despite simply remitting the tax to the government and the tip to their employee. The Restaurant Association estimates the average DC full-service restaurant pays about $15,000 in swipe fees just on tax and tip each year. That is money that is redirected out of paying employees, providing benefits, or investing in the business itself. So that is really important. And I will tell you, just as an aside, as somebody who answers the phone every day in the office, the big boys are calling. They are not happy about this in the banks and the credit card companies, just as a total aside. The next thing I want to talk about is Councilmember Allen also reintroduced his legislation that would require large building property managers to include all common area utility fees. So any common area like the laundry room or the community room or anything like that to include those in the rent price agreed to when you sign your lease, and ban them from being added as additional charges later on. This is an issue that came to us from many residents in large buildings all across Ward 6. And it's very frustrating for residents to all of a sudden see an additional fee that they did not count on that adds dollars to their rent. So that has been introduced. It needs to go through the cycle, but we're pretty confident that Councilmember Allen's pretty confident that he's garnered the support of most council members to support him in that. The next thing is, as we know, some of our federal workers who are neighbors have lost their jobs. So as we anticipate an increase in the number of federal workers who might lose their jobs, our office has been really proactively checking with DOES, which is the employment services who runs unemployment for the city, to make sure, unlike COVID, that they are prepared for this increase. And we've been asking them and pushing them about how they're anticipating the questions and concerns that people will have in terms of, litigation that's happening right now, and all kinds of other things. But I want to remind folks that generally speaking, unemployment insurance is based on where you actually work. So if you work in Virginia, you file in Virginia. The next item that's sort of timely is tax season. So there are two important tax benefits that I want to make everybody aware of. One is for DC parents who earn somewhere between 50 and 60,000 or less are eligible for a sizable tax return through the federal and DC earned income tax credit. So as long as you file for the AITC, which is a federal benefit, you will automatically receive those local dollars without any extra effort. The second is that small and local businesses in the district should check and see if they're eligible for $10,000 as a tax rebate based on property taxes. I can throw that link in the chat as well. These are both refunds that we fought pretty hard for. The third thing that is not so clear as I read this that I want to make sure gets through is for low-income residents. If you feel like you do not need to file your taxes, in other words, you don't have income, I very much encourage those folks to apply to file their taxes anyway. And the reason for that is that you get automatically enrolled in a monthly stipend that comes through the earned income tax credit. Please call me with any questions, but that is super important. And I'm hoping to get a flyer to every ANC commissioner to be able to share with their neighbors. The last thing that I will share about legislation is that this week, Councilmember Allen, oh no, I already did it. Sorry, the bill for the common area fees is called the Fair Housing Practices Bill. If you're looking for that on the legislative LIM site on our DC Council website. And then the last thing I wanted to share is, and Commissioner Kevin Rogers, I want you to know this in particular. I met with about 40 Golden Rule residents today on New Jersey Avenue, and they have now acquired their own tenants association, and they are starting to organize for chronic issues in their building that have been plaguing them for at least 3 years that I know of. And, they're pretty severe conditions that have put these residents at risk. And a lot of them are seniors. So I bring you greetings from them. They are a very organized and feisty group of men and women who want to come and join the ANC meetings. And so we're working on getting them connected. So that's all I have. If I'm happy to take any questions.
Great.
Yes, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, go
Joe.
ahead.
Yes, I thank you for that information. I've been in the hospital for about a month, so I had no idea what they was forming over there because I lost communications with them. But I'm gonna reach out to them. I'm gonna reach out to them as soon as I can. I'm just recuperating. I'm not at full capacity yet. They got me at bed rest, and I was able to make this Zoom meeting. So I'll reach out to them, John, and see what's going on in that building.
That's why there's more than one of us, Kevin. I got you.
Yeah.
We'll connect offline.
I know. I can't take on the whole city by myself, but I'll try.
Great. Commissioners, any questions for John? Go ahead, Commissioner Prince.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say, Jean, I have seen Councilmember Allen's statements on social media about the threat to home rule, and I applaud that. And I hope that he will continue to communicate with the public about this this topic. There is an ANC caucus on home rule beginning to take shape, and think about some ideas about what commissioners can do. And so I just want to put that out as a data point, and as we go forward into an uncertain future on this topic.
Thank you. That's really good to know.
Commissioner Carson?
Hey, John, that's Golden Rule Plaza or Golden Rule Apartments. I'm sorry if I missed it.
That's okay. It's Plaza.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other commissioners, any questions or comments? Well, I have just two quick notes or comments. I wonder if we could do 6E virtual town hall or whatever we would want to call it that is focused on issues in residential buildings, and then invite you or some Councilmember Allen or as many staffers as you would like to have, and then maybe a couple of representatives from the AG's office, from Department of Buildings and other agencies, because it seems like it's a prominent issue in the whole commission in different SMDs, and maybe having representatives from different tenant associations come and share their experiences in trying to identify solutions, because it's definitely happening in my SMD and other SMDs. So that's one idea to discuss. And then we can follow up offline, but we typically like to have Commissioner Allen join us in April if possible. That's the beginning of the budgeting priority season, so he can share with us his annual update if possible.
Okay, great. Why don't you and I chat tomorrow about those two things?
Great,
And we can try and get that on his calendar for sure.
sounds good.
I will
appreciate
mention
it.
that he
Yeah.
does do a budget town hall for all of Ward 6. And I'm hoping we're going to get a virtual option this year. We do it in person. However, if there are budget priorities that 6E has as a group, I very much encourage you to submit those to him personally. And I'm always happy to be on that email so I can track it as well.
Great, thank you. Constituent joining us tonight, any questions or any comments you would like to share? Please feel free to raise your hand, use the raise hand option. Ashley, great.
Hello. I was just wondering if there's any way we could get a copy of what was your name? Sorry, Janine, what you just read. Like, is there any way I could get a copy of it?
Absolutely. I will. How about you put your email in the chat and I can send that to you? I can
Awesome.
try and cobble it together, but it's honestly, you guys have changed your meetings, so I've had 2 or 3 different versions floating around, and they're a
It
little
says
bit
the chat right
separated.
now is disabled. Is there?
Oh, okay.
that. We only have I think we can share it through the newsletter listserv if any if anyone is not on the newsletter, I'll drop an email that you can email, and then we can send you that update by email.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Ashley, I was thinking, I think I was able to put my email in the chat, so you're more than welcome to reach out to me directly.
Jen, it only shows for hosts and panelists. I don't know if you can adjust the settings to make it to everyone.
I also posted in
Uh,
the
You want to repost it? to
yeah,
everyone?
I'll
Thank
do
you.
that.
Be good, and
Yeah.
then Ashley can reach out directly to Jen, or we can republish in another format.
That is great. We will do that. Any other questions or comments by constituents? Okay, great. Thanks again, John, for joining us. We always appreciate your collaboration and staying in touch with us. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. I will say, Ashley, the best way to get news every couple weeks from Councilmember Allen is through our newsletter that you can sign up for. And when you and I email, it'll be at the bottom of my signature. But it's actually a good newsletter and it's worth reading. So thanks.
Great, thank you. Moving to the second or the next segment is an update from MPD First District. I'll promote you as a panelist. Good afternoon.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Can hear you okay. Thanks
Hey.
for joining us.
Of course. Good evening from the First District. For those of you that don't know me, I know most probably do, I'm Captain Paul Herbedak. I'm the Sector 1 captain, which encompasses the area of ANC 6E, but also includes the Wharf, Chinatown, parts of Penn Quarter, and parts of the Wharf. Not much to report out on. We did have a MPD in general had a busy January, as everybody knows. We had the state funeral inauguration on January 6th. So the officers were working pretty significant hours into February and into March. We're kind of expecting a little bit more consistent schedule, although we do have some major events coming up, such as the visit of the president of Ukraine this week and some other large scale events that are going on. And obviously moving into the summer, we have some of our summer events. So we'll be having increased deployment in some of the downtown areas, as you all will know. So really encourage everybody to make sure that they're signed up with DC Alert. Sorry about that. My computer turned off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you okay.
I'm back. Yes, blacked out there for a second. So I really encourage everybody to sign up for DC Alerts, not only just for the crime alerts, but also for some of those large scale events so that you know if there's any traffic closures, things like that. For the crime year to date, overall, our violent crime continues to be down for the year. We did have several incidents over the last couple of weeks at Union Station. Some of those may have heard of the unfortunate homicide in the parking garage there, as well as a robbery that occurred inside Union Station. Those cases, we're working very closely with both the private company that runs the parking garage at Union Station, Amtrak, which now some may know controls not just the Amtrak portion of Union Station, but as well as the commercial and real estate, and then Metro Transit, which controls the area of the metro station that's connected to Union Station. So a lot of different parties there that we've been bringing together to meet to discuss kind of the overall issues there. We're going to increase patrol in the area of Union Station. We're going to work with Amtrak to do some community walks around the Union Station interior and the metro station. And then we also met with the private company that runs the parking garage to kind of work out some of the details on that. That case is still open and pending investigation. And once we get some more information on that, of course, I'll pass that along to everybody. That being said, overall in ANC 60 on the 1D side, we have seen an overall decrease in robberies. Last year at this time, we had 4 robberies. This year we've only had 1. So last year's numbers are going to be difficult to beat, but we're trending in the right direction. And that's all I'm going to say about that, so I don't jinx myself. But as the summer warms up, our deployment, as we talked about last year, will continue to change a little bit. We'll continue to work a little bit more on some of our deployment foot beats, bike beats, things like that. But one thing I did want to mention, and this is a challenge that we have every year, I sound like a broken record, is theft from autos and stolen autos. Still a challenge we're having. We really highly encourage people to get tracking devices for the vehicles. We use those very readily. We have the Real-Time Crime Center, which you may have heard of. And if there is a tracking device, we can often track those stolen vehicles, whether it's a moped, a bike, or a car in real time. And oftentimes it leads to either apprehensions of criminals, prevention of them using it in other crimes like robberies. And also we can quickly get those vehicles back once they are abandoned and get them back to the owner. Theft from autos, and this comes down to just leaving expensive items in cars. So please, if you can, remove most of anything from inside your vehicle when you park it, whether it be in a parking garage or on the street. We see a lot of theft from autos do happen, unfortunately, in parking garages. And I have a standing invitation with any property management or owners that have garages, happy to send some of my auto theft team to meet with you to discuss kind of issues, how to better secure parking garages, and then also kind of give us a heads up when we're having issues. But that being said, that's all I have for 1D. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hi,
Thank you
Captain. My
for
name
the
is
update.
Commissioner Carson. I have a question. I had some constituents reach out to me from Golden Rule Apartments, 901 New Jersey Avenue, in regards to an incident that's supposed to have happened Friday evening. Do you have any information on that, or?
No, I can follow up about that. Do you know what the nature of the incident was?
They didn't say. She just stated it was a heavy police presence in the front of the building. And the officers had their weapons drawn.
Okay, I'll look into that. I would have to go back and just look over the watch commander reports for Friday and get a better idea. I was not here, so I would just have to look. But I'll email you. I have your contact information. I'll let you know as soon as my guess is I didn't hear about any sort of assault or shooting that occurred in the building. So my guess is that it was probably either some investigation or maybe a call for somebody with a weapon or something like that. But I'll find out and get back to you on that.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.
Commissioner Prince.
Thank you, Captain Herbenek. I would like to ask about a carjacking on February 13th, and I have a CCN number. This is kind of an unusual, I mean, we don't see a lot of those right in my neighborhood. It happened in the 300 block of Massachusetts Avenue at 11:45 in the morning. So that's a rather brazen thing. Can you shed any light on that? Or is it quick to look up if I give you the CCN? I don't want to delay our meeting, but if you recall that.
I do recall the carjacking we had at 300 Massachusetts Avenue. I don't have any update on the investigation as far as where it is. I do believe it's still open, but I can get more information and I'll follow up with you on that. If you don't mind giving me the report numbers right now, just so I can look it up.
Sure, it's 250-21405. And what caught my attention, in addition just to the address, was that the location was residence or home. So it must have been associated, I guess, in front of one of the apartment buildings or
Yeah, I think so. Usually when that happens, it carries the address of an apartment building and it's classified as a residence rather than in front of a home. Okay. And so if I'm remembering correctly, and I am getting old, so my memory may be not as great as it was, I believe this was a scooter that was stolen from somebody. So it wasn't wasn't a car, an SUV, but it was somebody's motor,
Still,
which is considered a vehicle, absolutely. So
yeah,
I just don't have
armed.
Yeah, the
Yes,
difficulty
right.
with the scooters, unfortunately, is they are a little bit more difficult to track and then recover because there's so many of them, and oftentimes they don't kind of have clear identifying marks, like the VIN numbers aren't readily available like we would know how to do with a car. But it looks like I just pulled the report up and it is still open, and it looks like they were able to get some images. And once those images are public, right now they're law enforcement only. Once they're public, I'll be happy to send that out. But it looks like we were able to get enough to make what we call a BOLO, which means a kind of a release of images of possible suspects. But yeah, I just looked at the report really quickly, and it is the one I'm thinking of. This is the moped. This was the moped that was stolen of the complainant on the street in front of a residential building. And the suspects approached him on a bicycle and
Wow.
produced a handgun. So yeah, very definitely concerning considering the time of day and the location. So we did for a while, and we'll continue to have additional units up in Mount Vernon Triangle area, not only because of that issue, but also because we were seeing kind of some issues over at 5th and K, which is a very high traffic area. A lot of people in and out, and some disorderly activity up there. And we did have a robbery up there earlier in the so.
Thank you. Can you share whether that was on the north side of Mass Ave or the south side?
The robbery?
The armed carjacking was,
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
the even numbers are on the south side, 300, and the north.
So it's carrying 300 mass, so it would have been on the south side. But it might have happened in the roadway.
Yeah.
But the address it's carrying as far as data purposes would be 300, so it's gonna be on the south side.
Thank you.
Great. Commissioner Hans?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I've been getting some complaints about residents about frequent homeless folks that are kind of like right outside the property, and they seem to be the same people each time. Was just curious, is there something that can be done about that?
Yeah,
They leave the place dirty and stuff too. They leave all their trash, and it's literally right outside the building at 400 Mass.
400 mass.
Yeah.
Okay. What we can do, so in situations like that, we kind of do a multifaceted approach. What we'll do is we'll get the mayor's office on unhoused individuals involved. Oftentimes we also engage what we call our co-response unit. So there's those are the people, the officers that respond out with mental health
Yeah.
workers from DBH. So I'll go past there and kind of do an assessment, but then I'll also start engaging those three folks. So we could, if the criminal activity, like if it's drinking in public, quality of life crimes, that's definitely something that falls under our roof and that we take care of. But the things that are kind of like encampments or mental health issues, maybe where a person's being disorderly, but more because of the mental health issue, I'll try to engage our core team. So I'll look into that. Was there a specific part of the building that they were congregating? Is it just the front entrance?
Yeah, so it's kind of like where that old CVS was at 400 Mass, if you know what I
Gotcha.
mean.
Yes.
It's right by that entrance. And yeah, I will say it would be great if those people can get help. I think there is some addiction, just kind of from what by walking around them and stuff, I've kind of got that sense. So yeah, if somebody could just help them and get them on their feet, that's really more what I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the goal usually in those cases.
Yeah.
There's like a blatant crime or a really kind of troublesome quality of life issue going on.
Yeah, and it's usually a woman and a man, and it's usually the same ones too. So
Okay, great. Well, yeah, especially if it's a consistent persons, and that's really easy to kind of make sure we engage them with BBH and with the unhoused
okay,
resources.
that sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, my pleasure.
Great. Any other questions by commissioners? I see that Nancy has a question from the constituents pool, so I will allow you to speak.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you okay.
Thank you. Captain, as always, I first have to say thank you for everything MPD is doing and pass that along to Commander Hall as well. We very much appreciate your work. and your community spirit. Like,
Our
it-
pleasure.
I would like to ditto what Commissioner Hans just said, because as you know, where our building is, we have that same issue all the time of people congregating either in the front of our building, in the back of our building. I have two questions for you. One is related to this issue, because just this morning, one of our residents was leaving for work at 6:45 a.m. and found someone sleeping on the sofa in the lobby. This is
Okay.
a very common occurrence in our building, sadly. My question is specifically, what should one of our residents do? I'm hoping there's a few of them on the meeting tonight listening in, because instead of him calling 911, he texted me at 6:45 and said, "Could you call 911?" Well, I didn't, because one, I was sound asleep, and two, because I couldn't give a description. I had no information. So if there's any of our tenants and residents on, should we call 911? Do people have to wait around for the officers to show up? This is,
So there's a couple things you can do. You can call 911 and wait. You can call 911 and just let them know that you're not able to remain on scene, or you don't feel safe remaining on scene. And then there's also a text tip line, which we do answer all the text tips. They send them out to the patrol units, and that's 50411. So just text 50411, and you give a description of the individual and say where they are, that they're not supposed to be there. Now, I will say, add the caveat that for situations where it's like somebody is in your lobby who's not permitted to be there, we would need some way of kind of identifying them as not allowed to be in the building, not just because we obviously don't know guests and residents of the building. So in that specific instance where they're sleeping in the lobby and they need to be removed and probably barred, then we would probably need somebody, whether it was the caller or somebody who, I know you have a part-time property manager. That would be fine. Doesn't necessarily have to be the caller, but for that situation, we would. Now, if it's somebody out in front, say sitting on the steps of your building, like we've had issues before, you can just kind of call that as a disorderly or text as disorderly, and we can respond to that as well.
come here, Captain, that text tip line is live?
Yes, so it is, I will say it's not as expeditious as calling 911, right? 911 is going to put you in touch with a dispatcher who will get that call to a police officer within a matter of minutes. The text tip line may take, maybe 5-10 minutes, because those go through a system. They're sent to our real-time crime center and then sent back out via the dispatcher. So it's kind of a little extra layers of communication, a little extra game of telephone. But it is easier when you say, look, I got to go to work. I got to go drop my kid off at daycare. I don't have time to sit, and do a whole full-blown call, or it's just not that serious. Now, I would say, please do not call for violent crime or crime, I'm in danger crime, stuff like that. Do not text tip that. I would call 911 absolutely for any of those.
Thank you. My other question, and I appreciate the leverage here, the leniency here. Months and months ago, during an ANC meeting, I asked about Union Station, that area becoming maybe a zone, drug-free zone. There any update on that at all?
Yeah, so we brought that up. We suggested a couple of zones. I know that Chinatown has been one periodically. I think the issue that we're running up against is I don't know the drug-free zone on the federal property, and that's the one I'm waiting on an answer back about. And that's kind of been like a little bit of back and forth, because Union Station is kind of, like I was mentioning, is this like weird mishmash of Metro Transit, WMATA property. The front is actually U.S. Park Police, the inside is Amtrak, and the back is a private company. I think that was like kind of the issue that we're running into there. I will say that we've had a number of issues in that park, Columbus Park, right in front circle, right in front, with some drug use, and that we have been pretty aggressively investigating and enforcing in front of that park, regardless of it being a drug-free zone or not. We've had several operations there because that has become an issue, and there's been some overdoses there. So despite it being, whether it is a drug-free zone or not, we're kind of treating it like one, if you know what I mean. It just doesn't have that enhanced penalties or the enhanced opportunities that a drug-free zone has. But I would like to see, I agree with you. I think it's a good candidate. So I'll continue to look into that.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Any other questions from constituent? Caitlin?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you okay.
Captain, thank you so much for being here tonight. I just have a question about traffic safety at the intersection of North Capitol and E Streets. I walk through that intersection several times a week on my way to and from work, and most often, usually at the evening rush hour, I see multiple cars run red lights, either northbound on North Capitol or coming off of E Street to make that left-hand turn onto North Capitol. And I was just wondering if there's maybe anything that could be done to help alleviate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So every tour of duty, especially the evening tour, we have a traffic card. I'm just pulling it up on a map. Let me just make sure I'm understanding the intersection. So you're talking about the intersection kind of that goes up into Columbus Circle there and then comes down and goes towards New Jersey Avenue. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so actually the corner right by the corner bakery, so North Capitol and E.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep, I have it here. Yep. Yeah, I'll get with our traffic cars, and that's definitely something that we can kind of do periodic enforcement there to kind of, let people know not to run, because it is a rather complicated intersection, so I think people kind of get antsy and run lights there, so I can definitely see that. So I'll get our traffic enforcement up there periodically to kind of help make sure things are a little bit safer.
Thank you so much. And I do understand what you mean about the complications around that intersection. I think one of the things is a lot of people don't realize that the traffic on E Street gets the left-hand arrow last. So they get like, they're sitting there, the people behind them get antsy. So what I see a lot is people like 3-4 cars back heading east on E Street from the light, and they'll get antsy and the people in front of them aren't turning. So they like go onto the other lane, so like into the westbound lane, drive up to the intersection, tear through, now they're on a red light. So just to let you know, like that's just the kind of behavior I'm seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let our traffic car know that, and we'll take care of that.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Caitlin, any other questions or comments by constituents? See well, thank you again for the updates and for joining us, and we will stay in touch. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do we have any representatives from the 5th district, MPD 5th district? I don't see any. Just in case, double checking if we have any representatives from MPD's 5th district. Could you use the raise hand option? I don't see any. One item just before we move forward, I will share a quick update by the mayor's office. My email. So Marcus Manning from the mayor's office of community relations and services is unable to join. So he sent an email with a couple of updates asking us to share those updates with constituents. The first one is that he has met with Department of Building and Office of Tenant Advocate representatives to conduct a building blitz, as he called it. I would assume it's a inspection or a whole building inspection at Tyler House Apartments. And they managed to connect with up to 25 tenants regarding concerns to get those concerns addressed, and they will continue to keep us informed regarding this issue. And Tyler House Apartment is located on North Capitol and M. in Noma. The second update, they are encouraging constituents to attend an upcoming budget engagement event this upcoming Saturday, March 1st at Kennedy Recreation Center at 1401 7th Street Northwest. The budget engagement session will start at 11:30 a.m. And then they're focusing on efforts to tackle and remove graffiti in DC. So if anyone would want to submit a notice about graffiti that could be removed, they're sharing their email, and I will drop it in the chat box momentarily. Moving now to the next segment. We have a presentation by District of Columbia Sentencing Commission. I will promote Brittany as a panelist.
I'm here. I totally have some Zoom blindness right now.
All good. We can hear
Sometimes
you.
after, work hours, you get a little confused. You forget how to unmute yourself.
Yep. No problem.
It is a pleasure to be amongst you all tonight. First things first, I would like to thank you, commissioners, for giving me the opportunity to speak to the community about this great opportunity for emerging adults and youth. My name is Brittany Bunch. I work with the DC Sentencing Commission, and I'll get a little bit into who we are and what we do, as well as offer some resources for you to learn more, as well as opportunities for you to provide feedback about the DC Voluntary Sentencing Guidelines. But the primary focus today, I'm sorry, let me adjust my screen. My primary focus today is to more so focus on our youth logo competition. So give me one second. I do apologize.
So we are controlling the slides. Just let us know if you would want us to.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
You can move over to the next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so just to go over our mission is to implement, monitor, and support the district's voluntary sentencing guidelines, which helps judges with imposing fair and consistent sentences here in the district, adult felony sentences. We promote, like I said before, fair and consistency amongst that. We increase the public's understanding of sentencing policies and practices through events such as this, as well as our competition and many other community engagement focused events. And we do a lot of research in order to evaluate the effectiveness of our guideline system in order to make recommendations that are based on actual sentencing and corrections practice and research. You can move to the next slide. So just a brief overview. So we are composed of 20 members, 15 that are voting and 5 that are non-voting, that represent a wide array of both federal and district-based entities in the district. We have representation from voting representation from MPD. We have representatives from DC Court, both sides, USAO, DC, as well as Public Defender Service of DC, and a wealth of other perspectives in order to come up with sentencing policies in the district. And then we have 9 staff members that support the daily operations of the commission. You can go to the next slide. And you can just press all of these through. Perfect. And this is just a snapshot of our services that we offer to district residents and practitioners. Oh, she said, oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, sorry, I think I'm getting confused. I thought somebody was making a message to me. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying before, we do provide adult felony sentencing policy recommendation to the DC Council. We monitor and assist with the application of the DC voluntary sentencing guidelines. So if anyone had any questions about them and how they work, we have attorneys on staff that can help with that. We do a wealth of research in regards to adult felony sentencing trends in the district, as well as if any community members, practitioners, anyone in the public can request access to specific adult felony sentencing data. And we could talk a little bit more offline about that. I'll provide resources for you to learn more, and outreach and education through our website, social media, and more so importantly, just going out in the community. You can press. So with that, we do have a YouTube channel that goes over our history, goes over how the DC voluntary sentencing guidelines work. We go over kind of how sentencing works in the district because it's a little different from other jurisdictions and more. So if you want to check out our YouTube channel, I'll provide links for that as well as the guidelines to something I'm about to discuss. You can go to the next slide. So this is what I'm here to discuss with you today. So, I'm sorry. I think can you guys still see me?
Yeah, we can still see you and hear you.
Okay. So the DC Sentencing Commission is still taking submissions for its new logo design contest aimed at engaging youth, young creatives in the community. The contest is open to graphic artists as well as those that are just physical drawers, ages 13 to 22 who live in DC. The goal is to design a logo that represents the commission's mission while reflecting the spirit of Washington, DC. Participants are encouraged to incorporate local symbols such as the DC flag, the cherry blossoms, or iconic monuments, and to use the color scheme of red, white, blue, and black. The winning design will be featured in the commission's publications and social media, and the designer will have the chance to present their logo at the commission's upcoming meeting. Submissions are now, of course, being accepted and are due by Monday, March 17th, 2025, before 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and participants may submit up to 3 logo designs. Each design, of course, has to be accompanied by a brief description of the design concept, how it connects to the commission in DC. This contest provides a fantastic opportunity for young artists to showcase their creativity, as well as contribute to a meaningful local initiative. I will provide a link in the question chat here where it provides a full scope of the guidelines as well as just additional information about the commission so that the youth can learn about that. I think this is a great opportunity for those that are interested in going to college or signing up for a particular program to boost their digital footprint as well as their portfolio, and get recognized by a government agency. You can go to the next slide. Just some more information, just providing an overview. Our next monthly commission meeting is March 18th, 2025 at 5 p.m. We host our meetings every third Tuesday of the month. In the next meeting, we will be discussing our schedule for the 2024 DC voluntary sentencing. We will be discussing our schedule for the 2024 DC Sentencing Commission annual report, as well as additional things in that meeting. Our 2025 DC Voluntary Sentencing Guidelines Manual has been approved and will be released in the month of March. Our annual report will be released in the month of April, as well as we've recently released an biannual newsletter, which chronicles the recent activity of the commission over the fall and winter months. We always encourage the community, the public in general, to subscribe to our email subscriber list, where we at least send an email a month updating the community and practitioners about changes to the guidelines, new publications, or opportunities for trainings or public events. as well as if anyone had any particular feedback about sentencing in the district or how the DC voluntary sentencing guidelines works. We always encourage that as well. So there will be links to learn more about that. You can go to the next slide. So this is just my contact information right there. So if you have additional questions about, or if you would like for me to come out to your community and talk about this, or just set up an information table, I'm so open to that, particularly with our summer months coming up. I would love to table at a community event and just garner the feedback from the community. As well as if you had questions specific to the guidelines and its application, or if you had questions about our data capabilities, you can send an email to that scdc@dc.gov. So you can switch over to the next slide. So our phone number, again, our email and our website, a few plugs of our social media at the bottom. We are on now X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to present. And that is it. I'll answer questions now. If
Great.
there are.
Thank you, Brittany. Commissioners, any questions for Brittany or any comments you would like to share? No problem. Oh,
Yeah,
Commissioner
I
Prince.
just, thank you, Ms. Bunch. I was not familiar with the sentencing commission, and I'm wondering, is your work directed sort of more towards the judiciary or also towards the U.S. Attorney's Office? And sort of behind this question, I have in mind the changes at the U.S. Attorney's Office and how that might impact sentences that they might pursue.
So we have representation from both sides of the aisle. So we have DC court representation, U.S. attorney representation. So I'm not sure if that would necessarily affect in that regard. The guidelines are actually implemented from the judges. They are the persons that set the sentence ultimately. And our guidelines are voluntary, which means judges don't have to impose a sentence specific to the guidelines. However, they are widely used.
Thank you.
No problem.
Other commissioners, any questions or comments? No problem. Constituents who are joining us tonight, any questions or comments? Please use the raise hand option. Great. Thank you again for joining us. This was very informative, and thanks for sharing your information. And we will stay in touch.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. And now we will move to the next item on the agenda, which is a presentation from the DC Department of Human Services. It's an update on the 25 East Street non-congregate shelter. I see that we have representatives from DHS. Promoting David. Good afternoon, David. Is there anyone else presenting?
Good afternoon, Fran. I've come with quite a team. So you may see Anthony Newman on the call, Tyler Edge on the call, Lisa Franklin, Osei's last name is slipping me, from DGS. Do you see anyone with a DGS acronym?
Well, I don't see anyone else. If you could just use the raise hand option if you're presenting with DHS.
So while we are doing that, has Anthony Newman joined the panel team? Mr. Newman is on. Very good. So as the rest of the team is joining, we can go ahead and proceed to respect the time of this commission and the meeting. We want to thank you for
good.
having us back at this meeting. Our team is here, as we always have been, committed to share information, ongoing updates as we become aware. So we wanted to ensure that we do that this evening with your team. Again, there are a number of members from our team, including Anthony Newman, who serves as Deputy Administrator for our singles homeless operations, for which our shelter this evening we will speak about falls under. He will speak to the programmatic updates and aspects of the shelter. Members of our facilities team, and I believe our colleagues from DGS are with us to speak to any renovation type questions, and then we'll wrap up with Q&A if that works for this team. Okay. Well then, if you proceed to the next slide, Mr. Newman, good Professor Newman, I turn it over to you, friend.
Thank you very much. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you okay.
Perfect. And I apologize in advance for saying something that some of you may have already heard, or if it sounds a bit repetitive. I have to assume that not everyone has heard all the script from time to time, from meeting to meeting. And for those who have heard it, oftentimes what seems to happen is once we get away from here, there'll be the questions like, you know what I meant to ask or whatever. So I'm here to make sure that we can close those gaps. If we can move to the next slide, I'm not sure who's controlling this slide. Thank you very much. Okay. So again, what is DHS all about? DHS is supporting residents through housing-focused assistance. We work alongside those with lived experience and community leaders and providers. The Bowser administration is committed to ending homelessness and making sure it's rare, brief, and non-recurring. If you've ever spoke to anyone at DHS at any time, you've heard us say this because it really is a philosophical approach. And what we're doing with the East Street building is an example of how we're working towards that end. If we can turn the page to the next slide, please. Again, we are helping everyone. I think this is an important statement that DHS is attempting to empower all its residents through work opportunities, economic assistance, and supportive services. Oftentimes, people seem to think of us as one or, depending on how you engage. There are those who think, oh, well, DHS, that's where you get the TANF. Oh, DHS, those are the folks who do the sheltering. DHS, those are the folks who help the youth. All of those things are true. And we sometimes, in the case that we're going to talk a little bit about East Street, several of those things are true when we start talking about wraparound services. Slide, please. This project is a bridge housing project, and as most of our projects go, it's a collaborative between DGS, real estate architects, and an assortment of folks. And we take input from the stakeholders, and we have various types of stakeholders. We have stakeholders who, with the lived experience, the community, the homeless services community, the provider community. We talk to ANC meetings and neighbors. So to some respects, what we're doing today is part of that outreach effort that we intend and endeavor to do both in advance of the building, and once the shelter is open, once the facility is open, we'll do this for the life of the program as appropriate. This is my favorite slide of the night. I think it's important to understand and draw a distinction between what a low barrier shelter is and what the E Street shelter is going to be. On the left, you see a picture of what is a low barrier shelter of old. We still have old low barrier shelter designs like what you see on the left. Bunk beds, many people in one room, very congregate setting, lots of people in one place. And the old 801 East that you see there, that was but one of several dorms, and we had several dorms that combined made up about 200 beds in that configuration. DHS, we are moving, just so for the sake of saying it, we are moving as fast as we can away from that model. The new low barrier shelter, for example, we don't have bunk beds. There's only 18 beds in a dorm. Each bed has a a nightstand and an electric plug, and it's a much nicer facility. As we build our low barrier shelters, more and more, that's the model we're going to. A low barrier shelter really is just that. Any client or any resident of the district who needs a room, or needs a bed for the night, presents themselves, and we give them a bed. People will line up, or they're brought there by the shelter hotline, and people queue up in the evening times for the first bed available. And the only requirement is needing someone who being in need of a bed. I see there's a note about if you need emergency shelter, absolutely call the shelter hotline. The easiest way to reach that is 311, and they will connect you directly to someone who can help. And although it's a warmer night tonight than other nights, we are absolutely still in hypothermia season. And so as much as you see your neighbors outside, please do what you can to call 311 if you think that's necessary. I spent a minute talking about low barrier because I think it's important to understand what the E Street facility will not be. And I think if I were to say, I've talked about non-congregate, and we've talked about not having people in a room, and we've talked about, and I think some people may have in mind what a homeless shelter might look like. And this is why I want to show these two pictures. The low barrier shelter of old is on the left. And again, I draw that distinction because to the extent we still do have low barrier shelters like the one on the left in the system, we're quickly moving away from those. What you're going to see is much more akin to what's at the Aston in the West End. And as you see in the Aston, there's only 2 beds, and there's 2 nightstands. If we were to pan that camera out a little bit, you'd see there's a space to sit and relax. The E Street won't have that much space necessarily because of the configuration of the building. The Aston was previously a dormitory, and before that, it was an apartment complex. So, whereas the E Street location was previously a hotel, so the interior of the rooms will have more of a hotel feel to it, though our design team is making it look a lot less like a hotel and more like what you see in the picture. One of the things you'll take note from these is one, when we say low barrier versus bridge, that this is the visual of that. On the left, low barrier. On the right, a representative of what E Street's going to be. And again, that's a live picture we took just a few weeks back before. So that's the actual room. On the left, all you need to do to get into low barrier is to present yourself. On the right, to get into the E Street, you'll have to meet case management requirements. You're going to need to agree to have an exit plan when you come in. You'll have an exit plan when you come in. On the left, all comers. On the right, we'll have a targeted entry, and I think we can move to the next slide. I think some of this might be on our next slide. On the right, we'll have targeted entry and a targeted way of getting in. And that's what you see in that first bullet point, coordinated access. So on the left, you show up. On the right, we're going through a coordinated access process. On the left, case management on the old 801 East or in our congregate model, case management is optional. It's not required. Our first and foremost mission is to make sure people have a place to stay. But in the E Street location, case management is a requirement to participate. We will have people, when they come in, realize that case management requirement, and we should expect to see a lot of residents, they're not quite ready for that yet. And some of them will opt out of it even once we bring them in, because it is a legitimate concern. And for those who are motivated and encouraged to take advantage of the case management, we feel it's the secret sauce of moving people into housing. You saw in the right-hand side, private rooms on the left-hand side in the low barrier picture previously. Again, in our new building, there's 18 in a dorm. In our old buildings, there's 20, 40, 50. So you're seeing a different kind of model. But in what's going to be at the E Street, it's much more low density. It is a much more setting more conducive for the kind of people who we think will benefit from that environment. Timely transitions. When you come in with an exit plan. And we expect that in that exit plan, this is not a place where people are going to come and feel like they can stay forever. Their exit plan will vary depending on what their situation is. So, for example, one of the groups we might bring in are those people who have been matched to a housing resource and assigned to a housing resource provider. And those clients will move much faster. We're talking a week, months, as opposed to someone who might come in who may not have that, but may come in because they are on oxygen or dialysis or otherwise in one of our target groups, and they might take a little bit longer. However, I know in neither case will this be a permanent step for either of them, and they must be working towards their exit plan, and that's being monitored. Inclusive services, one of the things that we cannot do in low barrier shelter by and large, with one exception, perhaps at our LGBTQ shelter, but by and large, our shelters are single sex, and we have makes it very hard to serve. Sometimes we have couples who are same sex or opposite sex couples, or for our residents who might be non-conforming. In the bridge housing, this is not a concern. We will be able to serve anybody in any state as they present themselves and identify themselves. We will be indifferent towards that in this facility. And again, all of these things push as an effort to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. How? How will that do that? And I think the thing to keep in mind is there are a lot of our clients who do not access low barrier shelters. There are some who feel like they don't want to thrive in it. They may have safety concerns. Those concerns might be real. They might be imagined. They might have concerns about their possessions. They don't want to be separated from their possessions. And in low barrier shelters, there's only 2 bags. They might be attached to someone else. Myself, I'm again, my analogy is I'm a 50-something-year-old man. I have a 20-something-year-old daughter. Where do we go? There's no low barrier for that. But we would come off the street if we had bridge housing. And so by having this option that we're able to move people from outdoor settings and from other settings and give them the opportunity to work towards self-sufficiency and work towards permanent housing in a way that we would not otherwise be able to. And that's how we are making, that's how this effort contributes to making homelessness brief and non-recurring. Next slide, please. Again, we talked about the length of stay, the provider selection. We are working towards that, although I think we have a provider. I will have to, at our next meeting, if we haven't made that public, we will at our next meeting. Next time we speak with you all, I just want to make sure we don't, I don't want to violate any contract requirements, but I rest assured that we have an idea of who that provider will be. And I think the neighbors who know the homeless services industry will be very satisfied with the provider. The company that we're going to bring in has a long time history and a lot of service with the District of Columbia in serving this population. We will be able to offer respite care, and those are folks who may need to have a short-term bed to come in, deal with any particular transitional medical needs while they return back to their regular shelter and or beds. Again, I talked about the encampments. We expect folks to come in from encampments because people who live out in tents tend to avoid low barrier shelters. We know from our experience that many of them will definitely come in to the bridge housing who otherwise wouldn't. We have the Aston as an evidence of that, and we have 2 other bridge housing sites in Southeast, one at Valley Place and one up in the Columbia Heights area. And we know most of those clients that are going in there are also, by and large, the majority are coming from encampments. And again, those specialty beds, these are going to be opportunities for people who want to participate in the aggressive case management. And as a sort of quid pro quo to it is they're willing to participate in case management in exchange for being in this particular setting, and we'll be targeting particular groups. And one of them, for an example, of those specialty beds would be women who are either working or seniors. And we haven't quite worked out the details. We're a little bit early for knowing what those details are going to look like. But we in the district, we have not been able to accommodate many of our working women who require a work bed or education bed, the qualifications of which are women with jobs and or who are going to school. We have facilities set up for the men at the new 801 East, for example. This building will have a few beds set aside for them. So women who are otherwise making advancements can move into this setting and hopefully make advancements into their stability much quicker, as an example of a specialty bed. Next slide. I think I will stop here. David, is this where you want to pick this up, or are we going to talk about timelines?
I can take over, of course. Thank
Okay.
you. So, as we can see, we in November 2023, the council approved the purchase of the building. That moved us into the design phase, which occurred between December 2023 and January of 2024. That brings us currently to the construction, renovation, purchase phase that we are currently in. That as you can see, as our schedule projects, in the spring, we target those activities to be complete. We are at the precipice of the beginning of spring, and so we will monitor those activities closely. And if those change, if that remains on target, we remain committed to coming back at some point, probably end of spring, when we have a better idea, to then confirm, readjust, or just go forward about our grand opening, which again, we project to happen this year. So we can go on to the next slide. So this is a little bit about our community engagement timeline. Again, we first shared our notice of intent to acquire the property in June of 2023. July 2023 was one of our first presentations about our proposed project for the facility. And this, your body provided us with a resolution of support, which we were very appreciative then, and continue to come back and keep you informed because of that commitment and support of us. And then in last year, we attended to share some updates, some readjustments from previous projections that we are still on target for this year. And so as we come back to you, this slide will be increased. It will probably move to a second slide, just so that we keep you aware and we keep ourselves aware of our need to remain in contact with you as our partners. Next slide, please. So this is just a reiteration of our commitment to working with you as a body to keep you informed of our project at every stage that we become aware. We understand safety and security and neighborhood cohesion is important. It is to us as well. We have engaged in a number of community walks, blitz activities. We've seen some really great improvements or opportunities to enhance our presence in the community near our Emory shelter along Lincoln Road in Northeast. And so we are excited about that opportunity here. And of course, working with our partners, district agencies, we want to maintain and ensure a clean and safe environment for everyone involved, all neighbors. Next slide. So that completes our presentation. I want to thank you for advancing those slides. I also want to acknowledge Lisa Franklin, who is our capital projects manager and chief at the Department of Human Services, is on the call and on standby, as is Renee, our counterpart and partner at DGS, who is on the line and is ready to support with any Q&A, Renee Holmes. So at this point, we turn it back over to you and your team for Q&A.
Great. Thank you for this update and presentation. I was able to promote Renee and Lisa as panelists. Commissioners, any questions or comments?
No, yes, I have a comment and a question. Once again, I do think it's great. I think this is a great opportunity to the undeserved that can join this bridge housing. I do want to share once again that the constituents and stakeholders have a major concern because they're in the population in that area. There's a shelter a few blocks away, and it brings on homelessness in their areas, you know, vandalism and things like that. I just wanted you guys to reassure that you will assist with this matter, and the shelter, the the bridge housing that you're bringing on, you all will try to prevent the environment to bring additional homelessness people to, come around in the area and things like that, and will assist with the vandalism if it happened on your property or surrounding, and just be a great neighbor. And also, I had a question about the Ashton or your other bridge housing. How was the environment there when the bridge housing came along? Did it bring on additional homelessness in the area who may want to, linger around in hopes that they can join this housing program, or anything of that nature there?
Mr. Newman, do you want me to take the first question and you take the second?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So Commissioner Carson, first of all, thank you for your ongoing partnership and great questions. I like to draw a distinction with the facility you're referring to, Federal City Shelter, or CCNV, is a independently for the people of the people run and operated facility. So we are a partner with them in how they manage their facility, and we will continue to be a partner with them as we move forward. Regarding this facility, yes, you have my commitment. You have the commitment of our agency to exactly be good neighbors. Anytime issues arise, we will come to these meetings. We will not wait for these meetings if issues arise. We stand fully committed to be present as needed and as requested. And I'll defer to Mr. Newman for the second question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And again, thank you for the question. And I appreciate that question because it does give us an opportunity to talk about what our actual experience has been in the other buildings. I have never seen or heard people standing outside trying to get into this program because it's known to be a referral program. And so you get in because your case manager directs you there. And this is not the kind of low barrier shelter that tends to have, for the lack of a better word, it's not likely to be the kind of shelter where people are just standing around and increasing the crime in the area. If for no other reason, these people all have rooms. Like they actually have their own room and their own place to go. And so we don't tend to see behavior any different than any other. Have we had concerns? Yeah, every now and then. I mean, we've had I know of one or two issues. I think the telling quote that I will repeat that I heard at a community meeting at the Aston, which is, again, grant you, the history of the Aston has only been since November that it's open. But one of the community members asked in a meeting, what do we talk about if there's nothing to talk about? Because I can't tell that the building is a shelter or is even there or there's anybody in it, because when they walk by it, there's nothing about it that stands out that's unique from any other building. And I accept that as a sort of a badge of pride, because I think that's exactly the kind of impact we want to have. We want to be neutral on the downside and positive on the upside. We want to make sure that folks who live in the neighborhood, who want to make contributions, and I don't necessarily mean financial contributions, but there are people who are neighbors who are financial planners, and there are educators and mentors and all sorts of things, and we would like to tap into that. When the provider starts in earnest and we start bringing on clients, our providers will reach out and you'll get their numbers. And so when you do have these one-off sort of situations, you will have a direct person both at the site that you can call to address your concern, and you will have our contact if you need to escalate it. That includes David, that will be me, and we will assign on my team, I will assign a particular person to liaison directly with the community and the building and the provider, who you will have their phone number as well. So we can't say nothing ever happens, but what we can say is we've had no impact that I can tell on the community, and I use that because, as I can tell, I'm not working for the police department, but we work with the police department. So if there were something that comes up, we would call them too, and we work with them. So I think time will test this out, and we'll start to see some positivity coming from our interactions. But I think the question is fair, and let's keep it on the forefront even after the building comes up until everyone has that comfort level. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Hans.
Yeah, how you guys doing? I have a quick question. And apologies if I missed this, but I thought I had heard something about there being some security plans that are they still in development, or are they completed yet? Just curious to know a little bit more about that.
So the security of the building will really have a couple different layers to it. One, we will have a human layer to it. So the building, just for flat baseline, is there, it'll be 24/7 security once the building is open. We will have a security assessment. Typically what happens is our partners at DGS, PSD, the Protective Service Division, that's the sort of policing arm of DGS. Those folks, along with our internal security experts, will start to assess what the security needs are throughout the building based upon the configuration of the building, how many people will be in the building, what the intake flow of traffic will be in the lobby. And they sort of come to a number of what kind of security complement and supervisory security complement that needs. And then in addition to that, there's a hardened security approach. There will be cameras set up in the building and perhaps in the immediate proximity towards the building. And the on-site security and provider staff will be trained in how to access and watch the cameras too. But the large bulk of the security efforts will really be with the human component that's in the building. And anything that happens away from the building or outside, we'll have close relationships as we always do with MPD.
Okay, and is there some kind of like, I guess, report that kind of mentions all the stuff you just mentioned? Like that we can kind of reference?
I don't know that we have a report, David. I'm not sure if there's something that we typically prepare. We may have to revisit this with you. That's a little bit outside of my lane as the sort of a program person. I know what we do because I'm often I'm the client, if you, for lack of a better word, when DGS performs these tasks. But I'm sure there's something we can come up with in writing at some point before the building opens to sort of outline what the security complement will be and how it will work.
Yeah, and I think that would definitely relieve some anxiety for folks too.
Sure.
So Commissioner Tyler Edge on my team, special assistant, he's taking that down. So the next time we come out, that will be one of the first things we speak to.
Okay, that sounds good. And then also, I believe the last time you guys came was in October of last year to our ANC. And I think there was a follow-up email that we had said that there might be some follow-up conversations between you and some of the neighbors. Was just curious if there have been and kind of what has happened during those conversations, if so. And if there's been any progress or any, I guess, major concerns of theirs that have been met since we last met.
So since we've last met, I have not been made aware of major concerns. I know there were requests for I think there was a request by a resident for proof of the ANC notification that was sent in 23-24. And I was able to forward a copy of our partner DGS, their notification to the ANC at the time. That was a few years ago, as well as council. So that request was made. If I'm missing one, please make me aware. And accept my apologies, and we'll address it next time.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Prince.
Thank you. Thanks, Commissioner Hans, for reminding me. In fact, I did want to ask about this. That I was interested, and I believe Commissioner Carson was also interested in some kind of ongoing dialogue. And I did recall earlier today thinking about this that I don't recall that anything had happened there in the intervening months. So I would just reinforce that I'd be willing to engage on this. And I don't know who needs to initiate, whether it's DC government or constituents who live in the neighborhood, or even the ANC. But I think this would be a useful thing to do going forward, to have these conversations, because particularly since constituents have a very strict limit on how much time they can speak in our meetings.
Thank you, sir. So so that I'm clear, are you asking that we convene a community meeting using maybe the invite list at ANC and maybe go to a library and sort of focus some time? I just want to understand so that we can work to meet the request, because the requirement of engagement and what we want to do is make sure we attend the ANC as the actual forum for community, completely respect your request. So I want to make sure there is a meeting in the middle, right? We are addressing our official forum in a way that allows us to spend the time I think I hear you asking for, completely open to suggestions and how to make that work, and we are committed to doing that.
Thank you. I think my recollection was that we wanted to find a way to meet that would allow a deeper discussion of some of the issues that is not really possible in the monthly ANC meeting format because of the time limitations and so forth. I don't know what would be in conformity with whatever rules that exist for public meetings. If we can have people who just want to come. I'm aware that there are neighbors, as you are aware, no doubt, who wanted to engage more on this. And I think that it would be good if Commissioner Carson and I could also be involved in that. I don't know what the structure would be. I just do remember we had talked about that earlier. And if that's a meeting at a public place that were announced, that's fine. Or if it were at the neighboring property, provided that non-residents to that property could attend to something along those lines.
Received.
I'm sorry, y'all. We did talk about it in the meeting in October. I think it was going to be in person, and you guys asked me. I declined. You and I think Commissioner Hungs.
Yeah, so
take over that meeting if it was going to be in person at their facility.
yeah, so I believe actually I'm just looking back in my email. I think I had reached out, was it to Nancy, asking for some date and times, but and I think she said she was going to check on that, but I don't think we really have spoken since then. So I'm happy to help facilitate that and maybe set that up again because there was talk about it, but then I never heard back about timing.
So I appreciate that. So Commissioner,
Yeah.
whenever you receive that, Tyler and we are ready to support. Depending on the topics, I want to be mindful of Mr. Newman and Lisa and everyone's time, right? And
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if we could just get a heads up of topics, not to control, but that we can make sure this week we have the program team maybe, and next week we have another team, just so that we're intentional about how we focus. Not a problem at all.
Yeah, and I think we can definitely ahead of time consolidate all the questions and concerns and kind of maybe summarize it for you. That way you know what you're walking into. And I know Nancy, I think, wanted to speak, so we can maybe let her speak after we're done, just to get her input as well.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Any other questions or comments by commissioners before we move to constituents? Great. Great. We will do up to 2 minutes for comments or questions by constituents. I will start with Nancy, but if any other constituents have any questions or comments, you can use the Q&A box or use the raise hand option. I will start with Nancy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And commissioners and Director Ross, thank you very much for bringing up the issue of the meeting we discussed in October, because that was my first question for tonight. Thank you for coming back to the ANC, but the residents of our building and some of the property managers in the neighborhood really want a dedicated meeting outside of the ANC purview, because 2 minutes each is just not going to cut it when we have so many questions. So thank you for revisiting that. And that is all on me for not following up, because in our neck of the woods, in this part of the ANC, it was elections, and then it was the holidays, and then it was the inauguration, and then it was January 6th. And so our people are all involved with that. And so it just was not a good time for them. So now that all of that is hopefully behind us, we can refocus and maybe send some dates to have that kind of a meeting. We would really appreciate that. And I heard I think it was Mr. Newman said you did walkthroughs or community walks. We would
So
definitely.
That was me, Ms. Rosen, and so one, I appreciate your manifestation into the world of Director Ross, but please allow me to clarify, I am Chief of Staff. Just want to make sure that distinction. Well, regarding the walkarounds, we are willing to come out, work with whichever ANC would like it. We'll reach out to the appropriate MOCR, and we'll come do a walk around, right? I mean, that's the purpose of a blitz, a walk around. What is the community asking for? What's appropriate? What can we do? We're totally willing to do that.
Maybe
In
we can
terms,
coordinate that. Maybe we can coordinate the walk around with the meeting.
and that was my next statement. As soon as we have our first meeting and really have our issues, my assumption, and it is only that it might be a good idea, and as the weather breaks, for us to just get out there with our partners and just put our eyes on things, as opposed to pictures and emails and things like that. Let's get out there and walk the street and see what's going on. Completely committed to that, Ms. Rose.
It'll make perfect sense. Our concerns will make perfect sense when you see the proximity of our building to the shelter building.
Received, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy.
I wanted to revisit the question of the contractor. Are you calling it the service provider?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I know you said, in the slideshow again, it said that one has not been chosen yet. I was curious if it was Friendship Place, the same one that's doing the Austin site.
One has been chosen. I'm just not sure what phase it is in signing the contract, and that's really the
awarding process.
The awarding process, and I don't want to misspeak until I'm sure the award has been issued. But we have identified a provider. It is not Friendship Place, but it is a major provider in the city.
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
We will now move to Caitlin.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay.
Thank you so much to DHS for being here tonight. I am a resident of Capitol Plaza Apartments, which is the immediately adjacent property at 35E. And I have a question about the current construction that's going on at the building, specifically with the outdoor HVAC, which sits between our building and 25E. So I live on the east side of the building facing 25E, and my living room windows look down onto the HVAC system outside the building, including the external generator. And this week, the construction workers at the building fired up that generator for the first time in the 6 years that I have been living here, and it was deafening. So understanding that this, if it were to run on a consistent basis, it would be problematic to both residents of Capitol Plaza and residents of 25E. Are there plans to move the generator unit to a less disruptive location, perhaps the roof of the building?
Thank you, ma'am. As you can see, my colleague Lisa Franklin has joined from our team, our capital operations leader. Lisa, is that a question you can field, ma'am?
As everyone knows, the owner is performing the renovation on behalf of the district. So my assumptions may be limited at this point, but I will say the scope of work that I know of does not involve relocating the generator. And for everyone, they're probably testing the generator. The generator is designed only to go off if there is a power outage. So I don't think that there is a concern about the noise happening continuously. We're talking about extreme circumstances on behalf for the generator to actually go off. But what I can confirm is confirm with the owner that the relocation of the generator is not in the scope of work.
Okay, thank you. I would just say, again, because my living room window looks down on it, the unit does look very old and the top of it is actually quite rusted. So maybe at some point, during, I don't know if it's during construction or at some point, a replacement generator might be a good option. It did take them like 3 tries to start it because the unit kept stalling. So maybe you all just want to be aware that that's going on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would definitely look into it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions by constituents who did not get the chance to ask questions or make comments? See that Nancy raised her hand. Nancy, did you raise your hand by accident or did you
Oh,
have
sorry.
another quick comment?
I'm there. Are you there?
Yes.
I hit the wrong button. I apologize.
Okay,
I
no
wanted to
problem.
follow up on Caitlin's question about the generator. Now, I know it was just said that it's not part of the renovation plan. So my question is, can it be? Because, well, Caitlin's only here 6 years, but we've had residents on that, I'm here 30 years. And residents on that side of the building have complained forever that that generator is not used just for power outages. So is there any way that that can be, maybe it's not a generator, maybe it could be the HVAC, but it has been, the noise level from that machinery is obnoxious on that side of the building. So maybe somebody can take a look at that.
I will definitely look
Yes.
into it, Ms. Rosen. Can you tell me at what side of the street the generator is that overlooks, well, that your apartment overlooks?
It's, if you're facing the shelter building at 25E, if you're facing the front door,
Yes.
the generator is on the immediate left side of the building.
Okay. We
Left side and
I will definitely look into it and provide an update.
That would very much be appreciated. And I just
Thank
want
you.
to follow up on something Mr. Newman said again about the security and safety plans and all. Every meeting we've had, all those issues have been focused on inside the building. Again, we're concerned with outside the building. You know,
and
the
Thank you
cameras that
for,
are being installed, they're being installed right now, by the way. I don't know if you know that, but the installation of the security cameras is happening right now. Will there be cameras that focus the alley, the back alley, the side alley? Because this is where all our problems are. And to follow up on something Commissioner Carson asked earlier about the Aston, we may not have such problems of other people congregating in front of the building, given the nature of this shelter. But drug dealers, if, you know, if some of your residents go out and look for a fix, that may happen, you know, right in front of our building or in the back alley. So those are the issues we're looking at.
great.
and
Thank you for your questions and comments, and I will give David and Anthony the opportunity to answer.
I can confirm that there will be cameras that are pointed towards the alley to address whatever issues that may happen, if they happen, when they happen. We often work with MPD to provide footage. If there's a crime in any of our facilities, we release the footage to assist MPD in the investigation. And we do include CCTV cameras around the entire facility. So you should feel assured that anything, if anything was to be captured in that alley, we would have captured it on film. And then we also have access to a DVR who records. So if something wasn't discovered immediately, our DVRs, they record up to 90 days.
David, Anthony, anything to add?
No, again, I think that the imagery that Mr. Newman shared and one, I don't want to make it a point that our unserved population are by and large users of product. Anyone who has a paycheck or a lease or a mortgage can use product, but when you operate a low barrier shelter, there is an understanding that we will encounter residents who have use, are experiencing the results of you using, and what we will not do is turn people away because of that. And that tends to attract, in some instances, the element Miss Rosen is speaking about, and to not acknowledge that as ignorant and inauthentic. What we want to drive home is this building is not that. By and large, folks will just not be out wandering around looking for a fix because coming in, you have a plan. My plan might be 2 weeks, Tyler's plan might be 3 months, Mr. Newman's plan might be 6 months. But when people are focused on a plan and have a space that they feel safe enough in a dignified, respected way to move forward on a plan, those are our residents that typically aren't looking for a fix. And so what we are committed to doing is, as we are learning and growing, what works well, we will continue to build upon that. The areas of opportunity where we may need to rethink our plan, we are committed to acknowledging mea culpa, and we will rethink that plan. But our hope is that you will welcome this facility, referencing the Aston as an example of what we learned during the pandemic, what we have learned when our mayor first became mayor and made a commitment to changing homelessness, to closing DC General, and the outcomes we have seen, the reduction in family homelessness we have experienced unprecedented in this region and in this country because of my colleague who you were looking at, Lisa Franklin, and her team and her partners, Miss Renee Holmes, the work they have done to tear down DC General and create family shelters in each ward is resulting in families coming in and coming out, and us having space in those buildings to be able to accommodate other needs because of what we have seen happens when you give people private, dignified space. And so we are excited about what we are experiencing, as new as it is at the Aston. And we are excited to bring that winning recipe here to you. Not ignorant of the challenges your community faces, but committed to facing them with you and being thought partners in resolving.
Great. Any other comments or questions by constituents on the line? Or in the meantime, Commissioner Hans, I think you had a quick comment.
Yeah, thank you. Just a quick thing. So about the security plan that you guys said you're going to maybe try and put into a document for us, if you can also include external security, like for the neighborhood, and how that would also be great. So internal and external, because that seems to be a big concern.
So our document will speak to our security plan for the building, which is what we're responsible for, and
Yeah.
the challenge everywhere is the public space. And what I think I'm hearing your constituents in this group saying that may be a focus of our lengthier community meetings, where we might invite our partners from MPD. And those walks sometimes are helpful in having the team understand the nuanced area between our doorstep, the sidewalk on the street, and then what kind of creative solutions can we work together. So I can't commit to solving it tonight, but we're committed to solving it with you together.
That's good. Thank you.
The question about whether there's any, if there are any representatives from DGS on the call.
Yes, Ms. Holmes, as I identified, she and Ms. Franklin together are here to address.
Great.
Yep.
Got it. Oh, great. Okay. So we have already addressed that. Lisa or Renee, anything else to add? I know that we are going way over time and we have other panelists waiting for the next session, so want to be respectful of their time, but like anything else you wanted to add from DGS perspective?
The only thing I'd like to add is that this is going to be a beautiful building. It's going to be a building that you're going to be proud of. I know that with all of our new shelters, we bring people to tour the facility and learn from them that if they were walking down the street, they would have never known it was even a shelter. The direction to our contractors for all of our shelters are to make them dignified, warm, and inviting. And often our buildings win AIA awards, and they become an asset to the neighbors because the buildings are beautiful. So I can't express how proud we are of this design. We are proud that we've been able to provide the program, but the aesthetics as well is going to be something that we all will hope that the architect will submit a request for award, and you guys will love it as well.
Great. Thank you. Again, we have to move forward with the agenda, but we appreciate your time and appreciate the work that you have been doing. Personally, I think that we need more transitional housing, non-congregate shelters to address homelessness. There may be some concerns or some projected challenges, but we would want ANC 6E with different agencies to collaborate on addressing these concerns and challenges. But we're in support of this project and wish you the best of luck. And we will continue this conversation. And I think maybe the next step would be Commissioner Hans, if you can reach out to DHS and coordinate a community walk that includes walking around the project and maybe speaking in person about some of these concerns. If that works for you, David, that could be a good next step, if that's okay.
And we might want to be careful. I think the mayor does walk, so we might want to call it a blitz. But yes, we will work with
blitz.
Our
okay.
and we will come out and we will make it happen.
Okay, that is the term. I wasn't sure if that's the term. We will use a blitz as the term.
You know, between Nancy calling me director and you, I mean, friends, I need to come back here more often. I appreciate that.
Great. Well, thank you again for your time. We appreciate it. And we will stay in touch and coordinate regarding blitz. Have a good night.
Thank you. Likewise.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Moving to the next item on the agenda, we have David to present on the request for support for a BZA application. It's good to see you again, David.
Same here. Thank you. I apologize for being a repeat customer, but you all are very kind to me. So I know I'm joined by some other members of our team.
Oh yeah, could you flag their names or?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll ask that they raise their hands.
Okay.
So I'll do the presentation, and this way they're there to answer questions. We should have Daniel Solomon or Ashley Orr from Grove Slade, and I think Bradley Clark from on behalf of the owner, and perhaps our architects are on as well. But I'll run through and it's a brief presentation, and then we'd be happy to answer questions. So thank you. So we're here tonight for a request related to an upcoming zoning hearing for the building at 500 New Jersey Avenue Northwest, just down the block from the site we were just talking about. This building was approved by the BZA a little over 20 years ago and constructed shortly after that. And you all probably seen the pictures here, recognize it. It's that really narrow, skinny, almost triangular building just east of Georgetown University's Capitol campus, right at that triangle created by New Jersey and First Street off of East Street. And back in 2002, it got relief from a number of zoning provisions to allow the construction of the building, including some zoning relief. The ownership is currently in the process of designing some improvements to the building, really just focused on the ground floor and the space around the ground floor to create a better lobby for its tenants and to create a better streetscape and public realm around the building. And as a part of that change, we want to continue to make some changes to the way the loading works. And so that's what we're here about this evening. So we go to the next slide, please. Okay, great, thank you. So this is just an aerial of the existing building to give you a sense and flavor of the streetscape that was built out at the time, and I'll orient you a little bit. So we've got the building, you can see its footprint on the left side of the screen. And then it occupies basically the entirety of its lot. And it doesn't look that way, but that's because you have a very wide right of way on New Jersey Avenue, which is sort of planned south on the image. And then you also have a National Park Service reservation, which is the sort of grassy area on the east side, Plan East, north side of the building. So this building is surrounded by a lot of public space, and a big part of our plan, if we go to the next slide, is to really improve that. And you can see here, this just gives you a flavor of what the team has put together based on really over a series of years, some discussions with Office of Planning and DDOT staff to think about ways to really enhance the surrounding public realm, creating significant additional green spaces and some other changes that we'll talk about in some more detail. So go to the next slide, please. And then here is this really give you a sense of side by side, what's there now and what's there after. Next slide. So here's the existing building's floor plan down at the ground floor. And what I want to draw your attention to are a couple of things. The white space sort of on the lower side of the building labeled number 3, that's the existing lobby. For those of you that haven't been in this building, because of the really narrow shape of the building, it is about it's a very narrow lobby. And I think a big part of this project is to create a little bit more openness in that lobby and improve the experience for tenants. It's a nice, cozy, intimate feeling, but you want to create a little bit of room inside. And so we'll see in some of the drawings, a big part of what we're proposing to do is pull the lobby facade out just a little bit, just really a foot or two, but just enough to create a little bit more room in that space. And then as a part of that, there'll be some exterior changes to the lobby. On the back side of the building, the upper side of the building off of First Street, you can see the existing building sort of configuration. You can see the number 4, that is an existing service bay that is theoretically large enough to allow for a smaller sort of service delivery van to pull in and park. But as a practical matter, the owner doesn't do that because that is right up against the lobby. So if you had trucks pulling in, and even if they were only idling or starting and stopping, the smell of the fumes and the exhaust comes out into the lobby. So as a practical matter, it just doesn't work. And so they have not actually used that space at all. What you can also see sort of outside of the building in public space, so you see where that number 8 is. That's the big curb cut and driveway that's there in part to provide access to that service and delivery bay that really can't be used. But if you look sort of to the right of where that 8 is, there's sort of a cutout. So any of you who've walked up this particular segment of First Street, you'll see there's this paved area, and that was sort of the part of the original approval in 2002. What the board approved was sort of relief from having to provide an internal loading berth for your larger box truck. But in exchange for that, they said, create a space outside the building where you have the box truck come and pull up and park. And practically speaking, it doesn't actually get used for that purpose. It is, and it's not really useful in that way. Most of the deliveries really end up happening in a curbside loading zone. We'll talk more about. And to cut to the quick, what our proposal is to ask for additional BZA relief for 2 things. One, to eliminate that outdoor loading area that was part of the 2002 approval that really doesn't get used. and two, get rid of that internal service delivery space and instead move all loading operations to a curbside. And so if you go to the next slide, you'll see this is what sort of proposed conditions would be like. All the loading would happen curbside within the building. What this allows us to do is take where that existing service space used to be and move it a little bit further left on the image to where that number 4 is. We won't actually have trucks coming in and out of that space, but that's also the area where all the trash is stored. So we take the trash and push it away from being close to the lobby into a less proximate space. And then trash and such can be rolled out to the curb from that point. And then we can move and expand some back of house space over in the area where that service space used to be. And then we get rid of that big concrete area that was used as parking and replace it with landscaping. You can also see the enlarged lobby on the south side where again, the number 3 is. It sort of pulls out a little bit and gives that area a little bit of room to breathe. Go to the next slide, please. This is just some elevations. This is the front of the building, giving you a sense of where it is now and sort of what the new lobby will be. You see sort of, we're going to create sort of a 2-story frame around the lobby to really give it a sense of presence instead of right now, that sort of cornice line that sits at the ground floor. It makes it feel a little bit lower and squatter. And go to the next slide, please. This is really a comparison of the before and after of the back of the building. The top is the before, and you can see there's the big sort of slide up rolling door for that theoretical loading berth that doesn't get used for that, and then some doors, and then the bottom is the after, where you'll see, that's replaced by a smaller area further to the right where trash and such can be rolled out, and we'll still have pedestrian entrances there, but you get rid of the big driveway. Go to the next slide, please. I'll just run real quickly through sort of from a transportation perspective what this means for the surrounding road network. So here we now have north is actually to the top of the page. So First Street and on the west, New Jersey on the east, and First Street is the side we're talking about where the loading happens. Go to the next slide. This gives you a sense of sort of how the building's currently on the site. You have a couple of pedestrian entrances, and the red area is where the loading zone is and will continue to be. As also noted here, as a part of what we're doing, we're also going to make some improvements to the other driveway points around the site. We're going to sort of tighten them up a little bit and improve the sidewalk width to sort of bring them up into alignment with current standards that tend to emphasize the sidewalk and the pedestrian experience over the vehicular experience. And next slide, please. So this is sort of the current use of the curbside area around the building. The green areas are places where there's paid parking. The red areas are areas where no parking is allowed. And then the blue area is the area where the current on-street loading curbside space is out at the curb. And you can see it's the little area in the blue, sort of just to the left of where the big word site is. And just south of that red area is where the current driveway is. And so if we go to the next slide, sort of the proposal is going forward once we remove that driveway, because we no longer would have a theoretical space within the building, that space can become part of an expanded on-street loading area. There'd be no loss of any on-street parking around the building. We'd repurpose that area for additional space for vehicles to load in and out. This is all subject to DDOT approval. And then we go to the next slide. And then I think I want to end where we began, which is sort of the ways in which this will help with improving the landscaping. So what this allows us to do by getting rid of that driveway is we are able to replace the area along First Street, which is the top of the image here, with more landscaping, both up against the building and then more street trees along the street. So you won't have sort of the sort of more, I'll call it urban, but you could also use the word barren, the sort of the area of the existing image. And I'll add that we're also going to be able to add street trees on New Jersey Avenue too. If you look in between the two entrances to the drop-off area, you see two trees on this drawing. I believe right now there aren't any street trees in between the two driveways. So that's another area we'll be able to add some greenery, not just up against the building, but also further out closer to the curb. So then we go to the next slide. Just a quick sense of what the proposed lobby will feel like, and really go to the slide after this, please, and that's where we'll end. This gives you a sense of sort of the lobby in the context of the additional green space of what we're sort of proposing to do. I apologize, we don't actually have a perspective of the backside of the building where a lot of the changes are happening, but you know, I think it's a similar concept. In fact, even more green space because you don't have that large lobby entrance and drop off. So you know, to sum it up, what we're really asking for the BZA for are two things. One, to modify the prior approval to get rid of that outdoor loading area. And two, to ask for additional zoning relief to get rid of the indoor service delivery space. And it's on those two items we'd like the ANC's support. Bradley, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but if not, we'd be happy to answer any questions. Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for the presentation. Commissioner Prince, if I'm not wrong, this is in your single member district. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, it is. Thank you. And thank you for that presentation, David. I was able to visit the site with David recently, and a number, I would say all of the questions that I had, I didn't really have any concerns. They were all, you know, satisfied and addressed. I think this is a very sensible thing. You know, the previous relief that was granted in the past sort of left them sort of in a middling ground that turned out not to be quite so successful. So I think it makes perfect sense to convert this paved area into a green space, to convert the existing service area into another usage, to allow the expansion of the lobby and move that service area off to the side, and eliminate the curb cut that is not used for deliveries at present. I would mention, just for context, that it is likely that this section of the street will become one way in the future, which I would expect simplify you know, any truck or van deliveries, just because the street becomes less complicated when it's one way, and whether that's southbound and they would approach from the north and then pull up, or vice versa. I just think this is it would be an easy fix. And so after we have some discussion, I will introduce a motion to approve a resolution in support of this. But let's go on and hear from anyone else that wants to raise any issues. Over.
Great. Thank you. Other commissioners, any questions or comments?
I just have a question. Just if I remember correctly, was there some mention about some parking spots being removed? Is that correct?
So no parking will be removed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it will. I was trying to make the point that we aren't going to change parking. What we're going to expand the loading area, the curbside loading area, but it's all going to be taken from where the curb cut goes away.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Great. Other commissioners, any questions or comments? Seeing nothing. Constituents for joining us, any questions or comments? Let's see. Nancy's raised her hand. Nancy, did you have a question or a comment?
I did, thank you. I apologize. I talked a lot tonight, so I apologize, but I'll make you laugh about this building because I've lived here long before this building was built. And when it was completed with the blue glass, my whole apartment turns blue at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun hits it a certain way. So that's the part I'll make you laugh about because it's very eerie when it happens. But my question has to do with not so much the zoning relief you're looking for on the ground floor. I've been very curious about the construction that's been happening on the roof, which has raised the elevation and the height of the building, I would say significantly. And now there's neon lights on top. Was there no zoning amendment that needed to be done for the new construction up on the roof?
So I'll let Brad speak a little bit perhaps to what's happened on the roof, because I haven't really been involved in that piece of it. My understanding is that they were just doing some sort of mechanical renovations and upgrades on the roof, and certainly nothing that was being done was expanding the height of the building. It remains the same height that it is from a zoning perspective. But Brad, perhaps you could speak a little bit to what you all have been doing up on the roof.
Hi, Nancy. This is Brad. Long
Hi,
time no
Brad.
talk to.
How you doing? Long time no see.
I know. You need to get to the Dubliner a few more times.
I do.
Yeah. To answer your question, we haven't increased the height at all. The cladding came down, that old ugly metal cladding, and we were replacing that all with solar panels. So we actually have added 2 sustainability features. One is the solar, and there's also wind turbines at the very top. But all of them met the zoning requirements. We went through the zoning process at the time, and there shouldn't have been any difference in terms of height.
Well, the mechanics bring it up a little bit, but I won't even joke about the neon lights because they shine right into my window, but you know, they don't go up till like 3 o'clock in the morning. Brad, you want to speak to all the public seating we had in that corner that had to be taken down because of the homeless issues?
Do I want to?
Am I making it up, or was all the public?
No, you are not making it up. You're not
Okay.
making it up. No.
I'm just trying to make my point to the ANC that, you know, this is a long-standing problem on our block.
I agree. Yep.
Great.
Thank
you, Nancy. Any other constituents who would like to make any comment or ask any question? Great. Commissioner Prince, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, thank you. So with that, I move that ANC 6E approve a resolution to support relief from zoning requirements to allow them to modify the prior approval to get rid of the outdoor. Let's see, help me out, David, here a little bit. We're getting rid of the outdoor
loading area.
The loading area, and to modify the indoor space.
Right, to remove the indoor.
Is that the service? Is it to relocate the service area?
To remove the service delivery area.
To remove.
To remove the service delivery space, the actual vehicular parking space.
Right.
Is there an application number? Is that
Yes,
easier to
it
make
is
the motion?
16930-A.
Okay, and then after we'll wordsmith later what the actual resolution will say. But this is the gist: these 2 points to modify the prior approval to get rid of the outdoor. What is the word I'm missing here? The delivery space.
Outdoor loading area.
Loading area, and to modify and to remove the service delivery space. So
Correct.
that would be,
That's right.
that is what I am proposing we approve, and to convey that to the BZA.
Motion just second.
I'll second.
So Commissioner Prince moved and Commissioner Rogers seconded that ANC 6E vote on a resolution conveying our support of the proposed changes to the BZA. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 I think I heard everyone. Commissioner Hans, did you vote?
Yep, voted aye.
Okay. And Commissioner Watt? For some reason I cannot hear you, Commissioner Watts. Can anyone else? No.
No.
Aye.
Okay. Great. So sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Prince.
I was just going to ask, was that 7-0?
Yes.
Yes, 7-0
Yeah.
in favor. Okay.
Yeah. So the motion passes 7 yeses or ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstentions. Well, great. Thank you for presenting and joining us
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Sorry to keep you late.
Okay.
And Commissioner Prince will coordinate on submitting the resolution for
Wonderful.
the BZA.
Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night. Now moving to the next item, which is approval of FY 25 Q1 financial report. Commissioner Carson is the treasurer. Would you like to briefly present the items in the report?
Yes, this is the QFR for Q1 2025. The allotment we received was 16,833 and 90 cents. The other deposits was 73.68. That was from the bank's reimbursement. When you guys or the first commissioners ahead of me created the Wells Fargo Bank, received the Wells Fargo Bank as their banking, they signed up on a waiver, whereas though the services, there wouldn't be any fees or anything like that. But since the new year, the fees have been added on, and I'm in communication with the bank now so they can stop that. But right now they're not stopping it. They're just going along with reimbursing us. So that's where you see the deposits being made at. As we move on down, we have the services that's current. She was paid an additional time within this quarter because she was paid late for her September minutes. So she received 3 checks from that. And once again, there are the bank fees being taken out. Everything is normal outside of the bank fees, them charging us, but once again, they reimbursed us for the fees, leaving our ending balance at 116,062.27. We could go on down to the second page if you guys have it. It just, if we don't have it, it just leave everything broken down. You have it. It will, it's everything broken down, each individual check, and the amount it was written out for.
Do you, Commissioner
It was 2
Carson,
different attachments, but if you
different
know,
attachment. Okay.
yeah, but everything was normal this quarter.
Okay. And just a reminder, the fiscal year is slightly different. So this would be for October, November, December.
Yes, always starts in October.
Okay.
October, November, December.
So not calendar year. Would be for the fiscal year, and thus would be for October, November, December 2024.
Yes.
And the PO service includes said how many payments for is it for Karen?
That's current, and then our fees for the GoDaddy and things like that, the services we receive.
Okay.
Yep, and that's it.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? No? Okay, great. Commissioner Carson, do you want to move a motion to approve?
I move to approve ANC 6E quarter financial report for 2025, the first quarter.
Motion to second?
I will second that.
Great, so Commissioner Carson moved, Commissioner Dale Prince seconded the motion that ANC 6E approves the financial report for the first quarter of fiscal year 2025. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Great. So everyone voted yes. The motion passes with 7 ayes, 0 nays, and 0 abstentions. Great. So now we can move to the next item, which is the open forum. Any commissioner or constituent can get up to 2 minutes to ask any questions, make any comments, or share any updates. And I will start with the commissioners.
I just wanted to speak about earlier with John. I know you said about hosting a meeting with the Office Attendant Association and things like that. Can we speak about maybe a little later about having it in person? Because I do know some of the tenants at Golden Rule, they're in fear. They're in fear because some of them receive payments from the federal government, things like that. They don't pay their rent straight out, so they're in fear of retaliation. They have this thing where they think the landlord is going to put them out or treat them differently if they report certain things. So and they won't come to the meetings, the virtual meetings. I send them the news blasts and things like that, but they won't show. And I just wanted to see if it's a way me and you can go in and have the Office Attendant Association and things like that to come to their physical location when you do decide to do that town hall or something, or maybe have it at the library if possible, a mutual place where they can physically speak up and things like that.
Yeah, I think I've heard those concerns from other properties. And I understand that. Sure. We can also, I was thinking about having it virtual in case it's easier to have like different tenant associations, but I understand that it may not be possible. Or maybe we could do both. One that has like already established tenant association and then have a different meeting with that property or multiple properties where they would want us to go to them. I'm definitely open. I just feel like there are a lot of common themes across multiple buildings in 6E where there are complaints about unaddressed maintenance issues and public safety issues, and I feel like we should get different stakeholders from the AG office, Department of Buildings, and Charles Allen's office, Councilmember Charles Allen's office in the same room and see what could be done, because it's not a good thing at all that it's happening at multiple buildings in the same commission, and we like flag it to different agencies, but I don't see a coordinated response from all of these agencies. So yeah, definitely happy to collaborate with you, Commissioner Carson.
Okay, so when y'all do that meeting, I would like to join too, if possible.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. And any commissioners, we would want it to be a public meeting. I just any commissioners, any constituents can join. I just
no, when you and John do it, when you and Councilmember Allen, she said
oh yeah. To like speak with her. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I get you. Like the coordination like pre-meeting that will have a coordination meeting. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and any other commissioners who would like to join would be welcome to join. Any other comments or questions by commissioners? No? Okay. See a couple of hands. So that Nancy had her hand first and Ashley. Nancy, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I must have missed a couple of meetings. Congratulations on being chair.
Thank you.
I
It
was,
just happened this year.
oh, okay,
Commissioner
congratulations.
Hart retired, so
Welcome to the chair seat. Thank you.
thank you.
And thank you for everybody for accommodating all my questions and comments tonight. My last one is for Commissioner Dale, Commissioner Prince. And I was hoping DGS would be, I could have asked. So the other issue in the neighborhood that everybody's still wondering about, there's no information to be had. So I want to get this question on the record. But CCNV, which is the huge shelter on Second and D Street, which is just a block from us, there was $66 million in the proposed DC fiscal year 25 budget to expand that homeless shelter and build a new transitional housing building. But there is no information anywhere to be had. So can we address that at some point in a future meeting? And Commissioner Prince, that's in your SMD, which is why I singled you out there.
Sure, Chairman Abukalov, can I respond to that?
Oh, of course. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, thank you for raising. I actually have been meaning to become more informed about the CCNV. And I know there's an expansion plan. I believe there's some chain link fencing around it, and it I wasn't even sure whether it was in operation or not until by chance I happened to meet a resident of it yesterday and had a very informative conversation about it. And so I will make it a point to find out about it and particularly look into the matter of what kind of budgetary support will be forthcoming from the district in the, you mentioned FY25 budget, and I will report back.
I
Great.
appreciate that. I was asking this question on behalf of a building manager on a commercial building on First Street asked me to raise the issue. So it's not just me, it's everybody in the neighborhood wondering what's happening with that site.
Was there a specific concern with regard to the expansion or renovation
Yeah,
there?
his building backs up to the parking lot where the transitional housing building is going. And he also had a question about the central food kitchen, which is now located within the shelter.
I thought that the food kitchen had moved out. Do you have more current information? I
So
reached
this
out to
today,
them, but just as of today, they've moved out. Or I mean, they're not there. Okay.
I don't know. I'm not making,
Okay. The reason I
I got
mentioned
the
that is
question today.
during the preparations for the presidential inauguration, I reached out to them and I made contact with somebody by telephone, and they said they were not located there anymore at the CCNB. So, but it doesn't mean they don't have some kind of food
Right.
service on
Still
site.
has over
I believe they
1,000
do.
people there, so
Yeah, no, there are people living there, sir. So
over
there must be a kitchen there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll put you in touch with the building manager that asked me the question.
that would be great.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Now moving to Ashley.
Hello. I just have some quick questions about just about like these meetings in general. I don't this is the first ANC meeting I've attended, so I'm just wondering how many people are like on the Zoom today? I can't like really see. Like how many people are attending?
So the attendance fluctuates. These are the monthly meetings. I think we had over 20 attendees at some point today. Right now they like later in the night they dropped to 10. I would say the attendance fluctuates. Did you have like any suggestions about how we announce these meetings? we're always open to being more engaged with the communities and trying to find more way to promote these meetings.
Um, I don't really have any like comments about that.
Got it.
I was just curious. I also noticed at the beginning that you're like recording this whole Zoom meeting. I was wondering if there's like where could I find the recording of this?
Yeah, yeah. So we have a YouTube link. We're dealing with some technical issues with the email, but we will be uploading last month and this month meeting to YouTube soon. And are you subscribed to the monthly newsletter? If not, maybe you can share your email with Commissioner Hans, and we can send you an update once those recordings are posted, if that's okay.
I don't believe I am. I think I would be interested in a newsletter.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And I would
Oh,
just
go
also
ahead.
add, yeah, that so the recordings are actually is attached to Chris's Gmail, and there's no way to transfer like a Gmail account to a different one. So what I've started to do is I'm downloading every meeting from the past 2 years, and then I'm re-uploading it to this new one that I've made just neutral. So yeah, it's gonna take some time, but yeah, just that's why we haven't been able to upload anything yet.
We're working on it and appreciate your work on it, Commissioner Hans. Any other questions or comments by constituent? Or any other questions or comments? So wrapping up this meeting, the next meeting would be on March 27th, Thursday, March 27th at 6:30 p.m. Any last comments or questions by commissioners, or are you comfortable with wrapping up meeting and adjourning?
Yeah, I would just like to mention that one thing that's been on my mind recently is our communication with constituents. And I think maybe it's probably more appropriate for us to take up an executive committee, which for those watching is also open to the public, but with a different kind of agenda. Because I do feel like there's a certain difficulty in communicating with constituents. The newsletter only comes out, what is it, maybe once a month. And then there are other things that come along on a rolling basis, which we may want to push out. And so I think it would be good if we shared sort of best practices and talked about how to improve pushing information out to our constituents. Because I currently use only the method of addressing the building managers. That's all I have. I have 6 condominiums in my SMD, and I have a few business addresses, but mostly I'm talking to residents and occasionally push something out. And I'm not sure
Right.
it always is forwarded to building residents. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's a future topic.
No, that's a great topic, and I think we talked about it because I also have a single member district with only secured or gated multifamily buildings, so I can even like go inside to drop wire or anything like that without talking to the property manager, so it's definitely challenging. I think I've heard that other commissions have done postcards where you can do mail service and um, send a postcard introducing ANC 6E and mentioning, these are the commissioners. So we could, I think we have sufficient funding to explore something like this. Even if it's just introducing the ANC and then having, a list of each commissioner and their information, that could be helpful. Now we would have to like think about maybe a QR code for the ANC locator, so not everyone would know their single member district. So,
Right.
Just thinking about like how do they look it up and know who's their representative. Commissioner Carson?
Yes, also that flyer you guys had at the Mount Vernon Triangle Fun Day. What was it? That big block party they had. So the ones that was
Yeah.
left over there once you left, I kept them and I highlight. Well, it's not going to be accurate now because some commission is gone. But I highlighted for my area. I highlighted my name and my contact and passed those out also. So that could be something to think about until we find something, a little
Yeah.
better. And also I go to some of the buildings, I go to their residential meetings and kind of meet up with the residents that way, get their emails and stuff.
Yeah. I believe I used Canva to create that flyer, and I'm happy to update it with the new commissioners. Maybe when the weather is nicer, Commissioner Friends, you can have those like displayed on light poles or anything like that in your district where people can see them. So we could definitely work on that.
Right, right. That would be good. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
really don't have much of a mailing list. Maybe I should, Commissioner Hans, you are the keeper of the mailing list, aren't you? I wonder, I've
Newsletter, yeah.
thought about maybe I could identify what SMD people are in and compile my own.
And when we after we run, when we're elected, the old ANC, they send us an email. It's an Excel spreadsheet of
Yes,
everybody's address and
yes,
stuff too.
yes.
Yeah,
I've
that's
thought about using that to cross-check against our email
mhm.
list, although sometimes people use emails that you couldn't recognize what their name is, but
Yeah.
generally they do use one. And then I could just look for my
Yeah.
own people there.
Mhm.
Um,
And it's
Again,
okay.
I
something
think
in the treasury too, if we can agree to something that we, purchase something
yeah,
it's like the postcards, it's money funding there. So that's something we could think about.
that could be a good idea just to have um
Well,
ourselves introduced to neighbors.
right. I'm thinking we get so much email from other parts of the DC government. They say, please share, please share, please share. uh, I'm not
It's
sharing most of that
hard.
stuff, and they're not presenting it in a really a shareable format
Yeah.
because it's like too much of an email. You need something that's really short that you could just put into a kind of digest format, and so yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know sometimes like for those announcements, we'll add it to the newsletter. So
If they're
that could
far
be,
enough out,
yeah, if it's far enough out. And
sometimes you
then,
get it for it's like next week.
yeah. And then the other thing I was thinking about was, and I think Ahmad, we talked about this, was about like if we're gonna do a calendar invite, like adding everybody that's on the newsletter to the calendar invites that shows up on their calendar. That way they're also reminded of the meeting every time.
That would be
And we,
great.
yeah, so that's a project I'm going to work on. And
Okay.
we've decided on every fourth Wednesday or every fourth
Yes.
Thursday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going
It'd
to
be
make
nice
like a
to be here.
recurring
Do we have an
invite.
unsubscribe option too, so we don't spam people?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Or they just
the
write
reason they're
back.
on the list is they want it to be kept involved. So if they
Oh,
don't
they're
want to be on the invite,
self-selected.
yeah, they can just let us know and I'll take them off.
Absolutely.
I think yeah, we talked about it, and I think the only concern is just to have those as VCC so their
Of
emails
course.
won't be shared publicly. But other than
Okay.
that, it's um
Of
the
course.
office of ANC, they don't have any concerns about
Yeah.
that.
Do you
Great.
guys think Noma and Mount Vernon, the BIDs, the CIDs will collaborate with us and share some of their?
They could, yeah. I mean, I don't know if they have like some concerns about sharing, like if it's happening through subscriptions to their newsletters. I don't know if they're allowed to share those email addresses, but maybe they can include our information in their newsletter to reach out to your ANC commissioner, like use the 6E email or something like that, and then
Well, they certainly will put our meetings on their events calendar. I
yeah.
asked that last meeting, which was a special off-cycle meeting, to Mount Vernon CID, and they did put it up.
Okay.
And a lot of my people live in the downtown bid,
Mm-hmm.
south of Massachusetts Avenue, and I don't have any contact with downtown bid, and I need to.
A lot to think about, but I think all of those ideas are great, and I agree during the next executive meeting, we can discuss and brainstorm
Yeah.
more. Thanks for
Very good.
flagging those issues. Commissioners, any other questions or comments before we wrap?
No, but I just want to confirm then that the next executive meeting will be on the 13th? No,
Yes.
2 weeks to the day before the meeting. Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
At
So it would be like
6:30?
monthly. Yeah, 6:30 on the 13th. Great. Last chance for flagging anything, any updates, any comment? Great. Anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn?
Sure. I move we adjourn our monthly 6E ANC meeting.
Motion to second.
A second.
Second.
Great. So I heard Commissioner Carson, Commissioner Prince moved and Commissioner Carson seconded that we adjourn the ANC 6E, February 27th meeting. Thank you everyone for your time, and the next meeting will be on March 27th. And we will talk to you then. Have a good night.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.